Welcome back. Flavio Hlabangwane has conceded to the premeditated murder of his girlfriend Tshepang Pitse. She was murdered and dismembered in Soweto in 2021. The 23-year-old's body parts were found in Hlabangwane's fridge. This after the state rejected a plea bargain, opting to go to court on a charge of premeditated murder, which carries a harsher sentence of life in prison.
Around September 2021, although I cannot specifically remember the date, I found out that the deceased was cheating on me. We tried to resolve the issue, but I could not bring myself to forgive her. I told her that it is best we break up. Point number 3 under paragraph number 4. I did not feel that I could be able to proceed with the relationship after what I had found out, but she wanted us to try and fix our relationship. At this time, I only felt resentment and anger towards her. It was during this period that I started contemplating killing the deceased. Point number 4. From the period of September until early October, I was mostly on the internet searching for ways to kill the deceased and also for the quickest way to dispose of the corpse. Point number 5 would read, it was also at this time that I got more active in a dating site where one can meet people who are looking for a relationship. I ultimately met a person by the name of Funanani through this dating site. The deceased and I were not speaking much at this point as she stayed with her father for a period of time until we agreed to meet at the house where we used to stay. Point number 6 would read, on or about the 6th day of October 2021, the deceased and I met at the house where we sat and we spoke. I then left, taking her bank card to go buy food without asking her first. When I came back, the deceased confronted me about this and started an argument. And this started an argument between us, which at the time created an opportunity for me to actually kill her as I had planned. Point number 7, I had intended to dispose of the legs and arms of the deceased in different places and at different times. Point number 8, after I had killed and dismembered the deceased in the house, I could not sleep in the house alone.
Our reporter Manqoba Mchunu has been following that case in court and joins us now. Manqoba, such an absolutely chilling admission of Flavio Hlabangwane's thought process being read out by his defense lawyer there. What is next in this matter? How do we proceed? And tell us specifically about the plea bargain that was rejected.
Well, you recall, of course, Andy, on Monday that Flavio Hlabangwane had pleaded guilty to a charge of murder as well as obstructing justice and violating a corpse. And this is for dismembering Tshepang Pitse's body back in November 2021. You recall, of course, Andy, the chilling details of how her body parts, her limbs, her legs were found in a deep freezer in Hlabangwane's rented apartment. And he had pleaded guilty to killing and, those particular charges as far as they were brought by the state. But what we didn't agree to was a charge of premeditated murder, which we know, of course, that this is what the state has been pushing for, trying to show that Flavio Hlabangwane had in fact planned to kill Tshepang Pitse, and that there was an abusive relationship. We heard from the testimony that was led in court when the state called its first witness, who was a friend of Tshepang Pitse, her name Tulisiwe Lubambo, who testified to the nature of the relationship, how she had at times received messages from Flavio Hlabangwane threatening her to stop meddling in a relationship. So the state was hoping to continue with that particular case to prove a case of premeditation. But of course, the new submissions that were made by Flavio Hlabangwane as far as his plea bargain is concerned, these now mean that he has admitted to planning and killing Tshepang Pitse, and that he says that he does admit that there was a conflict that had taken place at that particular time. Of course, the state now will be pushing for a harsher sentence. They've made it clear that the reason why that stopped, or rejected that particular plea of murder is because they believe that Flavio Hlabangwane was going to get a lighter sentence of 15 years if he was convicted on that particular charge. So they will be pushing for a harsher sentence of life imprisonment. But take a listen to what the NPA's Tshepang Pitse had to say.
We welcome the
attitude of the accused person, coming to court and alleviating the pressure of proving our case beyond reasonable doubt, in that he pleaded guilty. Let me just correct that. There was no plea bargaining, but instead he pleaded guilty and thereafter made admissions in terms of Section 220 of the Criminal Procedure Act. Then as the state, we accepted, as you have mentioned earlier, the 2 counts of defeating the ends of justice as well as violating a corpse. However, we rejected his admission on the murder charge. Reasons being, as the state, we felt that we are in a position to bring evidence before court, evidence of a probative nature, so as to prove that this murder was planned. Because remember, Manqoba, we risked the fact that should we have accepted the murder charge as it was in terms of Section 51(2) of the Criminal Procedure Act, the accused could have likely gotten away with a sentence of 15 years.
Manqoba, can you tell us when sentencing is expected to take place?
Well, Aldi, what we do know is that when the matter resumes on Tuesday, of course, this is when both the defense and the state are going to have an opportunity to argue. The state, rather, will be arguing that the court should find Flavio Hlabangwane guilty on a charge of premeditated murder. And this is because of his admission that is made in court, that admission to the plea bargain that he had made on Monday. And so what it means basically is that he has admitted that he had planned to kill Tshepang Pitse, and he even went on to details as to how he did it, going onto the internet to research how to kill her. So this is all damning evidence that could prove a case of premeditated murder. And therefore what's left for the court now, and is for it to actually pronounce and convict Flavio Hlabangwane of a charge of premeditated murder, which will then open a way for arguments as far as sentencing is concerned to start on Tuesday. We expect that those arguments are going to start, and of course the state will be calling for a harsher sentence. We're expecting, of course, Flavio's lawyers to also argue for a lighter sentence, given the fact that they will argue that perhaps he has shown remorse by pleading guilty to the charges, but secondly, that he has also amended his plea bargain to show that he's really, remorseful, and that has really taken the court into his confidence as far as the murder is concerned. So we are expecting those sentencing procedures to begin in earnest on Tuesday.
Thank you very much, Manqoba Mchunu, reporting on that very chilling case for us.